rebuilding. The catastrophic failure, a new start. Physically, mentally, our careers, our businesses. Step back, first step, next step. The driver in me just wants to get it done tomorrow. We'll do this, do that, let's move this, where are we at with this? You build some confidence, build some self-esteem, start to feel better about yourself. The Silverback Blueprint Podcast, a show for men over 40. We focus on getting stronger, staying motivated, building discipline, creating a community, and becoming truly happy. Hey guys, and welcome back to episode 138 of the Silverback Blueprint Podcast. Today I want to talk about finishing off 2018 and looking at 2019. So Luke and I were just finishing doing 3 or 4 podcasts, and every once in a while we kind of sit there and we're like, I don't know, what should we do next? And I was thinking, you know what? Because we're always, so this is August, we're recording, this comes out a couple months later, so we're talking about the end of October. So when you think about it, there's 60 days left at this point in 2018. And I think it's really cool to sit back and look at, you know, kind of do a little bit of a rear view mirror. And we'll get Luke to chime in on this one. He doesn't know that I just fucking pulled him in on this one. He doesn't shave and he hasn't cleaned, he hasn't washed his hair. He's just getting thrown in here. So how does it make you feel, Luke, when you look at and say, hey, there's 2 months left in the year? What does that do for you?
At 2 months left, of course, I want to look back at what I had planned and what I was able to achieve based on what were the timelines that I set out for myself and how close did I get to that, or how far past did I get to those timelines? Mm-hmm. And maybe then also look at why, whether it went well or whether it didn't go so well.
Do you do this a couple times during the year? Do you kind of tend to do this? You know, it looks like, actually, I never fucking do it. You just told me about it on the podcast just now. But you're not that kind of guy, so I know you're not like that. But do you do that a couple times throughout the year, or do you find you get caught up? I know for me, sometimes I just get caught up with my nose, you know, down to the grindstone, that I have to remind myself to come up for air every once in a while and sort of just do a check beyond what's in the bank account today and what has to get done this week.
Yeah, that does happen for me a lot too. Get really focused into one area and have to take a minute to be like, okay, wait a minute. What's going on with all the other balls that are up in the air, right? So I do have plans to kind of look at what the whole framework is. And something that I've started to do is break down more of the smaller tasks into time frames, even for emails that I'm going to write. If I'm reaching out to people, or if I'm following up with past clients or anything like that, I specifically allot myself a specific amount of time so that I don't get down the rabbit hole too far. So do
you saying like, hey, one Monday a month I sit down and this is what I look at?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then even splitting up the day too.
Okay.
Or if I realize within a day, hey, I have to get back to these 5 people right now. Okay, well, I'm going to do it within 30 minutes.
Right.
So that there's no bullshit. So that
right.
There's no screwing around. It creates that focus.
Right.
And I'm realizing now I need to actually kind of expand that out to look at like monthly and quarterly for the whole year too, to really take a look back.
I find for me, the one thing is, I know that has to get done, but I find that's the kind of stuff that overwhelms me. Where I feel, and that's kind of like, I have to be a free bird. I have to soar. But the problem is, the more that we get going, the more I have to have structure. And then what I'm trying to do is find a way, you know, how does that look? Like, where do I have shit on the wall? Like, if you're in my home office, I got papers and posters all over the wall and stuff. Is it file folders? Is it a way that, you know, do you put things in a planner to remind you, hey, don't forget to do this? You know, that's where sometimes I struggle with, how do I systemize that? How do I do that in such a way that it gets done? It reminds me, but then, you know, I have a fear, and this is one of my fears, is that I feel I'll get so regimented that I feel claustrophobic. Right? So that's kind of the battle I have, is that I know this shit has to get done. I know it's important that it gets done. But then I kind of sometimes avoid some of it, saying, hey, you know what? I don't want that feeling either. Right? So for me, what I'm trying to do, and I talked about it, a few episodes ago, where I realized that my energy was going to shit because I had so many things happening and I was doing a lot myself, that I had to make some changes. So one of the things we did is we moved, the Hostile Gear headquarters. Now we're into a new location, just because the one I had before was cool, but I couldn't get to it during the day. And I realized that during the day I had some time, whereas at night, by the time nighttime came along to go and do the printing and stuff, by the time I got there, I was tired. So I would say, fuck it, I'll go tomorrow night. I'll go, and next thing you know, it'd be 3 fucking weeks, and I'd be behind. Right? And the brand is growing, so the demand for the clothing and the stuff is growing. So I find that it was just pulling me in so many directions that it was starting to become overwhelming. So that's what I had that whole, let's stop for half a day, let's look at these things. And then what I need to do is I need to remember to come back to these areas and spend more time on them. Meaning like come back, not wait until, it gets overwhelming where I need to pull this half a day, because in that half a day, I'm not going to be able to cover a lot of the things. I'm only going to be able to deal with the most prevalent issue, the biggest fires. And I want to start becoming more proactive. So does that mean that I sit there and say, hey, every 45 days, I have a hostile gear day. Every 45 days, I have a hostile conditioning the gym day. That kind of thing, where I sit and I've got an area where, in my office, so that the information I need is there, so I can get to it, and I kind of see, where did I leave off, where did I go? So that's kind of what I'm focusing on, and realizing that's where I need to go with it overall. But it's for me, it's the challenge overall. So I find with 2 months left, I'll sit back and I'll look at some of the accomplishments, and I'll be happy with them. But then for the other ones I didn't get done, I get really anxious. Right? I'm a little bit older than you too, so I find that, it's not just 2 months, I'm 50, turning 51, and there's 2 months left into 2018. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I find that really challenging as well, and that kind of thing. But it has to be dealt with overall.
Yeah, and for me, I really like to have systems for things. It makes me, I like having the security of a structure, but I also like having the freedom as well, which is why I'm an entrepreneur, right? So what I find, to steal the words from Jocko Willink, is that discipline equals freedom. So the more discipline I have in my schedule, the more freedom I will also have in my schedule to be able to do, this is my whatever I want to do time. Right? So the tighter I can lock down all of my processes, everything that I want to do, whether it's blocking my time for activities or tasks or workouts or meal prep or whatever it is,
right,
the more discipline I have in those things, the more freedom it's going to give me. So I try to practice that in all areas.
What's this dude's name?
Jocko Willink.
So we're going to put that in the link in the show notes. So who's this guy? What's this? First time I hear of him. You've been holding out on me, Luke.
Yeah, I have. I've been trying to keep it to myself so I can thrive and take over the world. But now that the cat's
out of the bag,
he has a podcast. It's called Jocko Podcast.
Oh, okay.
He is an ex-Navy SEAL.
Fucking Navy SEALs.
Right?
Jesus.
They're just winning.
They're crazy.
This guy is unreal in terms of his discipline and how he applies it. Recently, we talked about how you don't use your willpower, you use your routines. Yeah. Right? And
I said rituals, but that's okay.
Right, sure. Yeah. And he talks about the same thing, that willpower, that's gas that burns off quick. Where he talks about the discipline of your routines or whatever it is, that's what keeps things moving forward. So it's having those structures and sticking to it, even when it doesn't feel good, because it gives you the best results.
Absolutely right. And you know what? I mean, at the end of the day, the more we look at it and talk about it, the more it does come down to that kind of stuff, right? It's funny, just talking about Navy SEALs, I've been hooked on this fucking guy on YouTube, Don Shipman. Okay. And what he does, he has a thing where he does stolen valor. Okay. And he goes after all these guys. He's a former Navy SEAL, right? Buds 131 or Buds 133, I believe it is, and that's the class that he went through, and it drives him fucking crazy, all these guys pretending to be military, but specifically pretending to be Navy SEAls, and he'll track them down, and he has access to the records of the database, and it's freedom information, so they can sit there and say, hey, listen, your name, if you were ever a Navy SEAL, your name and what class you graduated from, it's plainly listed right there. Right. And he catches all these fucking guys and stuff like that who just, pretend, and it's just fascinating. I think the guy is really cool, and actually he's a fucking hoot. Him and his wife, they're always on the podcast. They do a YouTube channel, and they're funny as fuck. I just love the way they are as a couple, but it was just very interesting, this whole dynamic of this stolen valor thing and that kind of stuff. And obviously we digress because that's just the way our brains work. But just going back to the Navy SEAL thing, it's just amazing to see what they go through and what they achieve and what they're able to endure, right? And it's because of that, the relentlessness of the rituals and stuff like that. And, it's just, I admire the fuck out of that, right? And I like to think that I'm always improving, but then I see guys like that and I'm like, holy fuck, I'm just scratching the surface. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then again, I deal with that, oh, fuck, I'm 50. I got to get my shit together because I want to be more like that, right? That kind of thing. I want to be that guy that just, can get shit done, is living the life I want to live and stuff, but also helping people around me, from my family to my friends to my circle of influence to my clients, right? And still be able to walk the walk at the same time, right? And to me, that's my struggle, and that's when I'm trying to embrace is how to do that and do it in a way that, that everyone benefits. Yep. It's fucking exhausting.
It is.
Do you know what I mean?
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I sit there and I go through stages where I'm like, what am I fucking doing all this for? And I think that's normal for all of us. And especially when we're trying to achieve, there's days where, I'm like, I'm just going to burn it all to the fucking ground. Yeah. Right? I'll go work in a fucking parking lot as an attendant and stuff like that. Right? Yeah. And then, not that there's anything wrong with that if that's what you're doing, but then I quickly turn around and say, all right, that's enough. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Fix some of these fucking problems, right? And then get back to work. Because to me, that's what's super important overall. But it really is the mastery of oneself.
For sure.
Right? That kind of thing.
And that is ongoing too, right? I find that you never really reach the point where like, okay, I've got it now. I'm done learning. I'm done doing better. There's always going to be next, like in your personal life and in your business too. Once you reach the point, or even in your fitness, right? Once you reach a goal, well, you're now realizing, hey, I was able to do that. Well, I bet I could do even better.
Well, I think you need to keep I think you need to keep leveling up somehow. Yeah. Right? That kind of thing. So I'm pursuing this 600-pound bench press because I've thought about it for fucking 20 years. Right. But the real work I've put into it has only been in the last year and a half, 2 years, where I've just realized that I want to do it, but I've also realized that I'm closer now than ever, and now's the fucking time to do it. Right. Because I'd like to say, hey, at 60, I'm still going to be strong as fuck, and I will, but I don't know if I'll have that 600 pound in me at 60. Sure. So I don't have 10 more years. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I have 10 more months, right, to do it. But at the same time, I'm saying, I really want it. I want to get there. But then I'm like, well, what's going to happen after that? We kind of did a podcast or two before talking about what happens life after 600. Well, I'm not on the other side of that. But one thing I did realize coming out of that and not being successful in December is that I had to go back to the drawing board on a couple of other issues and other aspects of my life that I'm working on to better enable me to get to that 600, right? Because some things just didn't work out. So I tried to step back and say, all right, what could I have done better? What was in the way? What's the next thing I could focus on? Because when I'm in the gym training, I'm training fucking hard. I can't train any harder there. It's the other things. What's going on in my headspace? What's going on in my scheduling, my planning, my nutrition, right? That kind of thing. So I think that's even kind of what we're talking about here, kind of looking at the last 2 months of 2018 and looking back and saying, well, what worked? What didn't work? And I think a lot of times we're afraid to look back because we know there's going to be some stuff, right? That kind of stuff. And no one likes to think about the stuff overall, right? And I think that's why we tend to want to, by nature, avoid it overall, right? But I think that's where that next evolution in your development comes, is when you can turn around and look back on saying, well, what the fuck? What's going on here? That kind of thing.
Definitely. And I think that you can really apply those things. Like when you reach 600, your next goal, it may not be 625 or 650 or whatever it is. Reaching that goal may lead you to look at a different area. Yep. Right? And those things, I think, always bleed into the other areas of our life. It may not just be a heavier lift, but it may be something else in terms of your business or in terms of your personal life. You know, how you do one thing is often how you do everything.
And you know what? I think the confidence that you get from success is the one thing that'll say, hey, you know what? You're right. I did this. What's next? And if I can do this, then the next thing I want to do is doable.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. I was watching, what's that other Navy SEAL guy? Goggins.
Oh, yeah.
David Goggins. I was watching some of his videos and that kind of stuff. And just, you know, I think it took him 3 times a pass to become a Navy SEAL. He's beaten and broken and stuff. And he runs these 100-mile fucking races. And then 2 days later runs a marathon. Like, to me, what's impressive is just what has to happen mentally for you to be able to put your body through that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's why I'm like, fuck. Again, if they can do that, then why the fuck? It's not impossible for me to increase our, gross revenue 10% every month.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not impossible for me to add 10 more pounds on my bench in the next 2 months. Like, you know, when you look at that, if they can do if a human being can do such an extreme activity, then surely we can do 10% better.
Right.
In what we're working on.
Yeah.
No matter what it is overall. It's just now, what is that fucker doing? How is that guy thinking? How is that guy, ritualizing his life to be able to do that? Because that's where the key is. That's where the magic is. If anyone, I hate the term like secret sauce and magic and stuff like that, but truly that's where it lies.
Yeah. Is
what's that fucking guy doing? Right? And if he's doing it, someone else can do it. I'm a big believer in that overall. It's just that, what are the things they're doing that we don't see? What are the things that they're doing consistently, right? Those rituals that either we don't see or we don't realize are that fucking important overall. The big thing for me right now is no matter what time I get to bed now, it's 7 hours.
Right.
No less. I can't operate less than that. I've worked on it. I tried it and stuff. And that means I have to adjust my day. If that means I have to schedule someone else to do training, if I have to move my own training, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I'm really making that. Now the other thing I'm trying to zone in is get to bed between 11 and 12. Right? So by doing that, I don't set an alarm. I set a 7-hour timer on my phone.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? And I go. Now, if I don't like that I'm getting up at 8:30, then I better get to bed before 1:30. If I don't like that I'm getting up at 8, I better get to bed before 1. Like, that's what I'm playing with overall. And I'm feeling a lot better overall because I've had about a week and a half of better sleep. Now, a couple things I had to do is I had to adjust my schedule a little bit. I'm not teaching the 5:45 a.m. classes. So a couple things, and this is how I have to think as an entrepreneur. If I'm not teaching those classes, then whoever teaches it for me, I need to make sure they're good. And Coach Darrell's very good. But then I also understand now there's another cost to my labor.
Right.
So I have to turn around and say, okay, this is costing me X amount more per month. So I need to say, with my newly reacquired energy and focus, I need to make sure that I double that revenue.
That's right.
To compensate for that, right? And that's the thing that an entrepreneur has to think like, that someone who doesn't have a business doesn't think about.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not just, hey, if I want to go golfing today, right? It costs me my round of golf. It costs me the business I didn't get done. It costs me the staff to cover me. So when you're paying $80 for your golf round, that might cost me $500.
That's right. And
right?
That's a big difference.
Big difference.
How
And
you have to lay everything out.
And I think that's where it's easy as an entrepreneur to say, fuck it, I'll just not do it.
Yeah.
I'll just focus on my business and stuff like that, right? And that's where I'm working on right now to create better systems so I can actually step away and the sales system's happening, the follow-up system's happening, the coaching that's happening is at the right level so the clients are being taken care of, right? So to me, that's that a lot of that work we have to do behind the scenes, right? To be able to turn around and say, hey, listen, on Thursdays now I golf.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So much has to happen to have a golf on Thursday. I don't like golf that much, but I mean, I'm just saying that as an example. When I went to Europe last year,
right.
When I was gone for 2 weeks, never been gone that long, phenomenal trip, loved it. Boots on the ground in the gym, the staff, perfect, no problem. Where I noticed a big difference though is that a momentum in sales. Right? Because I was doing a lot of the things manually and that kind of stuff. So since then I'm working on systemizing it, but there's still some work that needs to get done. What I've realized that if I truly want to get to the point where I've systemized it, I need to create a need for me to want to systemize it. That means, right, I have to get past it. Fuck it, I'll just do it tomorrow because I'm in tomorrow. What I need to do is say, hey, listen, every 2 months I want to take a week off. So for me to have that week off every 2 months, I need to create this system now.
That's right.
So I can take that week off and everything keeps growing and the momentum stays. So there isn't like a week off and then 3 weeks of just trying to catch up to get to net zero.
Yeah.
Right? That kind of thing. That to me is that next evolutionary stage for me as an entrepreneur and as a business owner and stuff, is to really focus on working on the business and not get stuck working in the business. And that's the hard part, where we switch from being a technician to a true entrepreneur and stuff like that, right? There's a big distinction between being an entrepreneur and being self-employed, right? Self-employed, you're still trading hours for dollars. You're just billing at a higher rate, right? That kind of thing. But you're still not a true entrepreneur. It's the start of it. But a true entrepreneur, a business owner, right, has gotten past the trading the hours for dollars, has created a system, has staff, there is a difference in that evolution and stuff like that, right? Yeah. And as someone becomes that, right, I know we've talked, you're at a point where you need to start scaling and stuff like that. That's a different bird. That's a different burn rate, because then you're going to have to start to pay someone to do some of the things for you. Well, you want to make sure they're busy so that you're not wasting your money, but you need to make sure revenue's coming in, more revenue, so that you're not taking home less, because you've hired someone. And typically as an entrepreneur, we do take home less at first as we hire people, because, the business hasn't grown fast enough to cover both and stuff like that, right? Yeah. And to me, that is the true definition of becoming an entrepreneur, right? Is that, you have a lot of things that rely on you generating the business, not just you putting in the 35 hours a week and getting paid for it. There's nothing wrong with that. And I know some people think, well, Kurt, you're always shitting on people. I'm not shitting on people, but I'm just saying there's a distinction. An entrepreneur, a sidepreneur, there's a difference. There's nothing wrong with it. But right now, and if you listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, that's the one thing too, is that, he's sick and tired of people, living that glory of, I'm an entrepreneur, but yet they're doing nothing. Right? It's just a cool thing to be, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a CEO. CEO of what, motherfucker? Yeah. Right? CEO of one? You're not a CEO. You're one. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's where we start. But a lot of them stop there. And it's just because they want to live that life. It's like the stolen valor. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's that version of it as an entrepreneur and a businessman and stuff like that. Oh, I'm a businessman. Right? And when you find out, when you talk about it, they're not really a businessman or woman or an entrepreneur, they're a selfpreneur. And that's okay, that's where we start. But if that's where you're going to stay, then you're a selfpreneur. Yeah. That kind of stuff, right? Because every evolution changes you. Every evolution, as you grow through it and become self-employed, employed, self-employed, selfpreneur, entrepreneur, there's a difference. The pressures increase. The demands increase, right? The resources increase overall, and you change based on that. That struggle is a different struggle overall, right? Yeah. So, yes, 2018. There it is, that kind of thing. So, looking back, what do you try to do with your last 2 months of 2018?
I think it's really to...
Do you try to catch up on some of the shit you didn't? Or do you sit back and say, hey, here's what I didn't get done. Here's kind of why. How do I fix that for 2019? Or do you try to do both?
I think there might be like a certain bit of catching up on things.
Right.
I think more importantly is to recognize maybe why things worked well, why some things didn't work well, and then course correct for those things for all the time going forward. Right? To try to catch up in a small amount of time, maybe there's some value in that, but it's probably short-term gains.
Right?
Where playing the long game is to see, okay, what really happened? How can I apply that to the next year, to the next 5 years, to the next 10 years, and then to move forward and make sure that you're growing it up.
I find when I look back and I look at all the reasons why things aren't working out, there's always a common denominator. And I always find it's me. Right. Yeah. Right? At the end of the day, I'm the one either in the way or not finishing things or not following through or not staying on top of things. Very rarely do I find it's the environment that I'm in or the economic situation I'm in or the people that work for me or the people that my suppliers. I find it's very rare. They might have some contributions to it, but at the end of the day, it's all on me. It's all on you. Right? If something isn't working out, it's on us to make the changes. If a staff isn't working out, it's on us to make a change with that staff. Or what I like to do is just, reinforce the standard or raise the standard so it solves itself. Yeah. Or at the end of the day, it's realizing maybe we've taken on too much. Right. Maybe we've taken on something that one thing is taking more of our time than we thought it would, but yet brings us in less of the revenue than the other one does.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I sit back, right? A million ideas, right? And what I'm trying to focus on is hostile conditioning and hostile gear. I'm trying to stay with those two overall.
Yeah.
Because anything more than that thins it out too much. But even when I look back at my, I look at 100% of my revenue, right? I have to every once in a while remind myself, hey, 85% of it comes from here. 15% of it comes from here. So although that 15% is important, am I giving that 15% too much energy when I need to really maintain more energy into the 85%? Because that's my biggest potential for growth as well. It's also my biggest potential for loss.
Sure.
Right? That kind of thing. So that's the other thing I try to look at and then deal with that whole, as an entrepreneur, we're creative. We have ideas. We want to be doing stuff, right? Where I work best is doing this thing, doing the podcast. Where I work best is sitting down with a client and talking about what they want to do. Here's what, here's a program. Here's what's going to work. Let's get them into it and stuff like that. That's where I work best, right? That's why I'm trying to make sure that I don't get tied down teaching too many classes, because although I like to teach classes and I'm pretty good at it, it's not the best use of my talent for where the business is going.
That's right.
Right? That kind of thing. Now, it's important that I make sure that who's teaching for us is good and we maintain certain standards, and we're always improving that. But at the same token, every time I teach a class, I'm taking away from the big picture is the way I look at it. Now, I'll always teach a couple classes because I want to keep myself submersed in it, but it's not where if all of a sudden, so for a while there in the summer, we had some changes and some staff things, I was teaching more classes. And it was good for a little bit. It was like the undercover, not so undercover boss thing going on. Yeah. But it also got to a point where it's starting to take a bit of a toll on me, on my, my creativity and my energy level and stuff like that. And then I don't want that to become a thing where I walk in and I'm like, oh, hey guys, let's just do some burpees. I don't like that. So what I want to do is teach less, teach better quality classes, but then have more energy to work on the big picture overall. So I think that's the interesting part, is that how do we maintain that? What can we scale? But how much do we have to keep our own fingers in the pie as well?
Right. It's important to recognize where you can bring the best value and how you can do that and what you need to hand off.
So I think it's interesting what you said too about looking at the last 2 months and not trying to get caught up in, oh, fuck, I better catch up on this and I better, go all in on this one thing. I think if there's some loose ends or some small things you could finish, I think, yeah, hey, let's do that. But I like what you're saying about let's take that and what's working, let's keep working on it, but let's take that time to start looking at what am I going to do differently in 2019? And maybe there's a project or two you need to shelve. Yeah. Maybe there's a project or two you need to step out, and put more effort into and stuff. And I think that is kind of what you want to do with these last 60 days is, finish off on a high note as high as possible, but really prepare for 2019 so that when you look back in, November, October, end of October and November in 2019, you're not looking back and seeing the same issues.
That's right.
Again, overall, right? And, part of it is less going to be more. Maybe we have to cut a few things away so we can go further with it, right? Or maybe we just need to be better disciplined ourselves and then, maintain a higher standard for ourselves, but then also that standard in our organization so that people that, especially when you start to scale and bring staff on, they understand that this is the bare minimum that's acceptable as a standard. Right. And that's the other area where I'm always working on right now is that how do I do that? Alex Koshman, who's been with us for years, he's leaving on Wednesday's his last day, second last day of August is his last day. He's going off to Queen's University. Smart kid. I'm excited for him. I'm happy for him. Yeah. But those are some big shoes to fill because this kid is 17 years old. He's been with me for 4 years. We jokingly call him the senior vice president because he can get so much shit done. And he's a hardworking guy and everyone likes him. And he's like, that is a huge standard as a part-time for us to try and maintain. And I don't want to bring anyone in who's any less than that.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So that's really interesting. How I have to look at that. And that's where for the summer, I've also, done a few extra hours behind the counter myself, not to rush into hire someone who's going to potentially be below that standard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the standard I'm talking about is not that they come in and having all the knowledge of what the job is. The standard I'm talking about is that they want to be on time. They want to do a good job. They care about the job that they do, even if it's part-time. Yeah. Those are the standards that are super important, super fucking rare.
That's right.
that I'm, keeping an eye out for. Because if you come in with those standards where you want to do a good job, you have pride in your work, right? That kind of thing. You respect, yourself and any organization you work for. If you have those things, I can fucking teach you the rest. I can teach you if you have cognitive abilities, I can teach you this is where the mop goes. I can teach you this is how you enter this in the computer. That truly is the easy part. The hard part is finding those individuals that have those standards. And that's, as a father, that's the kind of shit I'm trying to impart on my 15 and 17-year-old. And I think we've done a good job with that, is that, hey, if you're going to do something, do it to the best of your ability and work hard, and they work for me until they get tired of working for the old man and they go out and work somewhere else. But you know what? When they've gone out, my son has gone to Canadian Tire after working for me. He's like a fucking superstar there because it's a lot easier of a job than what he did for his old man. Because his old man is like fucking harder on him, right? And now I think he's just got on with Lone Star. He's going to be a host there and stuff like that. My daughter's 15. She's starting to work. She's got school and hockey and stuff like that. But same thing. It's just those standards, right? So that when they go into the normal workplace, right, they stand out because their bare minimum standard is higher than most, right? That kind of thing. And that to me that's going to be the challenge for us for the end of 2018 into 2019 is finding another couple of part-time people that'll have those personal standards that we can teach our skills to and stuff like that, right? And in the meantime, that's where I am going to shore up and cover more hours myself because I don't want to let things slide backwards at the business, right? But I understand that's part of my struggle, saying, hey, over the next couple of months, I am going to be working some extra hours in the gym until we get to that right point. But it's in my best interest to find the best candidate possible so I don't have to fucking retrain someone in 3 weeks because that person didn't work out.
That's right.
Because we just tried to fill a Band-Aid solution as opposed to the best possible person for the solution overall.
Yeah, for sure. And I think those, like how you said, when you develop those principles or you develop those standards, you can apply it to any task, to any job, to any business, and find success at it.
Yep. Yeah, and that's really the thing, right? And it's, again, coming back to your personal rituals, your personal standards. If you didn't like the way 2018 is finishing off for you, I really think, and I'm talking to people listening now, not just you, Luke, or myself, not just our, the two in the room here, but if you're listening to this and you don't like how 2018 finished, then you need to look at yourself. You need to look at what are my standards. I'm reading a really good book right now called Principles by Ray Dalio. Did I say that right? And that's what he's talking about. I'm just getting into it, but it was recommended to me and stuff. And he's just the principles that he runs his life and his business based on. And he talks about finding out what your real principles are, what really matters to you, and then living your life according to those principles and stuff, right? So maybe I'll end up being a fucking assassin at the end of this book. I don't know. We'll see what's going on. That's all right. I can always use one. But at the end of the day, if 2018 didn't shape up the way you want it to be, it's on you. It really is on you. You're the reason it's not working out. And if it worked out and you're fucking killing it, you're the you're the reason. But it's funny, when we're successful, if we're truly cut from that, I want to do better and have more and grow my brand and really achieve my dreams, we rarely give ourselves enough credit for when things work out.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? We're like, yeah, whatever, fuck, it's good. Whereas when things don't work out, you're like, holy fuck, and I'm an idiot, and I'm stupid, and that kind of stuff. We take it on, and I think that's important that we understand that we are ultimately responsible for our successes and failures if we really want to grow.
Yeah.
But I think we also need to sit back and look at 2018 and the things that did work well. Give ourselves some fucking congratulations on that and sort of bask in that glow for a little bit as well, because that's also going to help empower us to enjoy that, appreciate it, and understand, hey, I want more of that.
For sure.
That kind of thing. I love walking somewhere and I see a hostile t-shirt walking around or a post on YouTube or Facebook and someone's wearing my clothing or my accessories or whatever. That's a rush for me.
Yeah.
Right? And I need to understand that I'm seeing that more now in 2018 than I saw in 17, 16, 15, 2009 when we started, right? That kind of thing. So I need to sometimes sit back and say, you know what? Appreciate that, because when you're dealing with some of the struggles, right? That's what's going to help you also understand this is why I'm doing it. This is why it's important, because, it's the people out there wanting to wear our stuff because they like what we stand for. Hard work, self-improvement, not quitting. It's not over yet. Those are the principles that we like to believe in at Hostile. So when people believe in that themselves and they want to wear our clothing that sort of represent that, that's a huge indication that we're moving forward and we're achieving those things we want to do.
Yeah.
But I need to take those in. We need to take those successes in and appreciate it so that it allows us to be empowered to move through the next level of struggle or finish the current struggle. You know what I mean? I think that's really important. And I think, again, coming back to those rituals, we really need to set up time every day to really put ourselves in the right state of mind, the right mindset, to be able to be ready physically. That's why we work out. Mentally, that's why we do this mindset, rituals, reading, thinking, and just really trying to explore why we're doing what we're doing to ready us to go out there and achieve the rest of the day moving forward towards our goals and stuff like that. Even like we talked about earlier, I had a rough morning and stuff, and how I'm thinking right now, my state of mind right now is 1,000% better than it was just over 2 hours ago.
Right.
Because I'm doing things that empower me, that I enjoy, talking about things that empower us and that motivate me. And, the issue I had this morning, we've resolved a bunch of it, we're fixing it, but it hasn't gone away.
Yeah.
But my state of mind has changed again, right? How I'm thinking about it. What I'm thinking about is much more positive now. So now when I have to go back and deal with it again later on today or maybe tomorrow or tonight, I'll be better equipped to handle it.
For sure.
We'll build some better armor. And be ready and willing to address it and have a difficult conversation or two, right? That's the other thing too. Sometimes when we have a difficult situation coming up and we know we need to embrace it, if we go into it confident, knowing who we are in a proper mindset, we can deal with it.
Yeah.
And rarely is it ever as bad as we start to overthink it and think it's going to be and stuff like that. Because sometimes it's just like, hey, man. A lot of my emails always start with, hey, man.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I just, this is what I'm thinking, or here's what's going on, stuff like that, right? Now, a lot of times there might be a lot of fucking turmoil behind the fingertips before I get to the point where I can go, hey, man.
Yeah.
Right? But that's what I'm working on, is not to let that fucking turmoil loose on the keyboard.
Yeah.
Or on the phone call or on the, message and stuff like that, right? I had someone earlier today just make a comment about some issues and stuff like that. So I just sent him an email and said, hey, man, I understand that, this came up and stuff like that. I just want you to know that I'm happy to talk anytime with anyone about any situation they're having with me or my brand or my business. Just let me know.
Yep.
Now, was that the initial message I had going on in my mind? No. There was a dismemberment. There was fucking flames, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to, all right, calm the fuck down. Take a deep breath and get to that, hey, man.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation.
That's really what that person is looking for as well, is to know that they were heard and that you care enough to send that email in that way. I'm sure that they're going to be satisfied with that. It's one step closer to having the resolution.
And at the very least, it lets them know that I'm aware that there's a potential issue with them. It might be a real issue, might not be a real issue, but to them it's an issue.
Yep.
And I'm like, hey, let's look at this. It might be something I'm like, oh, dude, let's fix that. Or it might be something, there's nothing I can do about that.
Right.
That's okay.
Yep.
Right? And I used to think when people would go and talk to my staff instead of me, I'd be like, what the fuck? But then I realized that just some people, that's how they're comfortable communicating. Right? And I'm like, do I let it go? And that's what I kind of do. I kind of triage it, and I'm like, no, this one I'm going to respond to. And I'll just say, hey, listen, I heard this came up. This is, if this is a concern, let's sit down.
Yeah.
Right? That kind of thing. At the very least, they can be acknowledged that they were heard. It also lets them know, too, that I do hear everything. Right? That kind of stuff. And that, as a 350-pound power lifter, I can be intimidating looking. Right? It's my way of saying, hey, listen, I'm always open for conversation.
Yeah.
Right? That kind of thing. And then my goal is, when I get to that conversation, be cool. Stand my ground if it's something I have to stand my ground on, explain my point, right? And be prepared, but not go in there emotionally charged.
Yeah.
Right? That kind of stuff. Because if I get mad, or if I get angry, or if I get emotional, I really feel I lose.
Yep.
Even if I'm right in doing so. Do you know what I mean? And that's sometimes where I struggle. I'm like, yeah, but fuck that. But I'm like, albeit, yes, it's okay to be upset. Being upset, though, in the face of the situation when we're dealing it, I feel more and more, as I'm trying to become more mature, is that I'm losing when I do that. I lose because I let my emotions get in the way.
Yeah.
I'm not losing because I'm right or wrong, right?
Yeah.
I can be right and still control my emotions.
Yes.
Right? Sure. That kind of thing. And I can be wrong, get really upset, and win because I got really upset, but I was still wrong.
Yeah.
right? And that's that weird fucking stoic fucking thing that I'm working on and stuff like that as well, right? So again, if 2018 is working, good. If it's not, it's on us.
That's right.
Cool. 2019, what's the big plans? What do you got? What's the one thing you want to kill it in 2019, Luke? Spill the beans, motherfucker.
Well, I want to be able to put together a growth strategy that's going to take me out of the strictly technician role, right? And put me more towards that entrepreneurial role where I have more scalability in terms of the business. So we're going to be looking at Podcast Wagon as more of a network format and looking into podcast advertising and be able to build some functionality there.
Awesome. And I think that's really cool. And I like that whole evolution thing. And, you know, you recognize where you're at now as a technician. Nothing wrong with that. But that's not where you want to stay.
That's right.
Right? So that to me is the important part, is understanding that I know guys that are technicians in whatever trade they're doing, and they fucking love it.
Yeah.
And they do extremely well because they love it. Not because they're a technician, but because they love being the technician. I know people that are in charge of things and running things that are fucking miserable because they truly would rather be operating a fucking bed and breakfast in Greece than fucking managing a bunch of people selling iPhones. I don't know. I'm just making that part up, right? It's not that I'm picking anybody out, you know. But you know what I mean? And to me, that's what's super important, is to figure that shit out and then go after it and stuff like that, right? I was listening to some Grant Cardone. And I listened to him a little bit, but it was the first time I really listened to one of the bigger things he said. And he said something really cool. He says he really believes on trying to live on 60% of what your revenues are.
Right.
And the other 40% you have working for you and doing things with it and saving and putting that kind of stuff, so that you stop becoming stuck in that whole hamster wheel of, I get a paycheck, I spend all the paycheck plus more, that's why I have credit and that kind of thing, right? Yeah. You know, if you have to run credit because you're doing something or adding something to your business, yes, you have to do that. But even for myself, I'm always looking at, how do I get away from that? How do I create enough cash flow and enough, nest egg so that we can get away from doing that? And, you know, we've improved on that over the years as we've expanded 3 times, but there's still some cash flow crunches. We're a business, and because we've expanded over the last 3 years, we've done a lot with what's been coming in. Now I'm looking more at, okay, let's step back a bit. Let's clean a few things up. Let's increase our war chest a little bit more. Let's take some of those pressures off cash flow wise so that we can turn around and focus on still running a better business, not a reactionary business overall. Right. Yeah. And then looking at my personal income, saying, well, I'd like to see that increase now because I've pushed it all back in for so many years. I want to increase my own personal revenue. And part of it's for savings and for retirement. Yeah, whatever. But honestly, it's more about, I want to travel more. Yeah. I want to take more time off. I want to do more. I'm looking at a course I want to go do in Boston that I want to do in October. And I'm like, all right, so it's this much. I'm going to put this much aside. I'm going to do it and stuff like that. Right. Yep. Because it'll be a good weekend away from me. It'll be a good self-improvement thing, but it'll also be putting me into a different environment that I haven't been into before, which is super important for our personal growth and stuff like that, right? Yeah. Could I turn around and let's say that whole weekend's going to cost me $1,000. Is there other things I could do with that $1,000? Yes. But if we go back to what we talked about an episode or two ago about investing in yourself, that $1,000 done under this kind of thing will come back to be $10,000, right? Might be immediate. Might be specifically in what I learned on this seminar or whatever. It might be just in the fact that expanding horizon, increasing a couple more contacts, and who knows where that leads. Yep. To even hey, I got away for 3 days, I got to recharge, come back, kicking down more fucking doors, let's go. Yeah. All those things will add up overall. But it's a choice, an investment, whereas I could turn around and spend that $10,000, I could spend that $1,000 on a new lawnmower, right? Which I really don't need. Do you know what I mean? That kind of stuff, right? Or I could spend $1,000 on a fucking shopping spree, which I really don't need, right? Which won't increase my overall growth and value. Yep. Now, I'm not saying never spend, but I'm just saying, right? People use that term like shopping therapy and stuff like that. Well, it's because that's that immediate gratification. I just bought this fantastic, but it's going to be fucking worn off by the time you put it back in the drawer at home the next day. Definitely. Right? Whereas if we turn around and we invest it in ourselves and broadening our experience or horizons, that's going to come and work with us forever overall. So for me, if I look at 2018, finishing that off, going into 2019, other than working on better principles and better rituals and systems to make the business keep evolving more efficiently, one of the things for me, 2019 is that 2 or 3 times a year, go do a course, go do a seminar, go expose myself to a different environment overall. Don't be the smartest guy in the room. Yep. You know, that kind of thing. Try something different. See how someone else is doing something that I want to do. Yep. Right? There's a lot of value to that overall. So for me going forward in 2019, that's when I'm toying with like 6 trips. You know, every 2 months, take a week. Yep. I'd like half of them to be business like this. The other half, I'd like to be just me and Dolly. You know, that kind of stuff. Just go back. Kids are getting older. You know, we've been focusing on that for so long. It's kind of time to get a little more reacquainted and stuff like that. Because in 5 more years from now, it's just going to be us. Yeah. Right? That kind of stuff. And I don't want it to be like, oh, hello, who are you? You know, that kind of thing, right? That kind of thing. So it's the stuff we do now so that later on it's smoother, because a lot of couples deal with that. A lot of couples find that really weird when, you know, if most of the focus has been on the children for so long. You have a young family, so, you know, you understand there's a lot of focus there. But all of a sudden, the moment that focus is removed, there's a lot of fucking bandwidth open again. No doubt. And a lot of couples and relationships struggle with that all of a sudden, because sometimes that was the only thing they were doing together. Was that one thing and stuff like that, right? So those are very real things that I'm thinking about as well, because on a personal level, I want to have and continue to have and improve a great marriage. Right. I'm no fucking, walk in the park. I know that, right? But I want to become better at it, right? That kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, what's a lot of it all for is to, at the end journey, you know, I don't want to be alone. And the person that's been with me for 20 to almost 25 years, I don't want to feel like I'm alone with them as well, and vice versa. Yeah. So it's about how do we make this so that we get ready for that stage, you know, and we enjoy hanging out with each other again like we did to the level before the kids came along and ruined our lives. I mean, enriched our lives, you know, that kind of thing overall. So for me, those are some of the big aspects for 2019, is a little more on that whole broadening my horizons and experiences. I'm not ready to go fucking eat some peyote or anything like that. I'm not ready to broaden that horizon yet. Although that's what a lot of guys get into as they get further along in their own development. You know, if you talk to like guys like Tim Ferriss and Joe Rogan and those guys, you know, they go out and do that mind expansion shit and stuff like that. And I don't know if I'm ready for that yet, that kind of thing. So yeah, exactly. Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, listen, guys, thanks a lot for listening. Head on over to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review, positive rating. Head on over to hostelegear.com. Use the code word Silverback for a 20% discount on some kick-ass, cool Hostile merch. And as always, guys, finish off 2018 hard. Get ready for 2019. Work hard, motherfuckers. And I'll talk to you guys later.